Euro run, negotiate obstacles and jump over chasms. And that, pretty much, is what Eurozone finance ministers are attempting right now, trying to prevent a run on the euro. The yawning crevasse that's giving them vertigo is the state of the Greek economy, a pitiful pit into which their currency could easily tip. The Greek Prime Minister would dearly love it if Germany could guarantee his country's debts, but the EU's rules and the German electorate would make that very difficult. Greece is part of the EU, Angela Merkel told reporters, so it won't be left on its own, but there are rules and they must be adhered to. But, back to our game, if Greece isn't supported, a contagion could easily spread to other weak Eurozone economies like Spain, Portugal and Ireland. However, bail out the Greeks and you have what the bankers call a moral hazard, profligate governments protected from the consequences of their irresponsibility. The purpose of this meeting, then, was to send a precisely tuned message. Not too hot, not too cold, and with a bit of luck, not too detailed either. The man who had to deliver it is the new president of the European Council, Herman Van Rompuy, who stepped forward for his first big statesman moment.
We call on the Greek government to implement all these measures in a rigorous and determined manner, effectively reduce the budgetary... I have to rehearse, to repeat.
It's not manner.
Yeah.
President Van Rompuy shrugged his shoulders and had another go.
All euro area members must conduct sound national policies in line with the agreed rules. They have a shared responsibility for the economic and financial stability in the area. In this context, we fully support the efforts of the Greek government and their commitment to do whatever is necessary, including adopting additional measures to ensure that the ambitious targets set in the stability programme for 2010 and the following years are met.
But what did this mean? Were European leaders bailing out Greece or not? Well, the final statement promised that euro area member states will take determined and coordinated action if needed. But what action? It didn't say. Angela Merkel said it was important not to run too much ahead of ourselves.
We've learned, all of us in the economic crisis, that we discuss questions as they arise. Greece has never asked us for financial support. They said we are ready to fulfill what we have to do, fulfill our commitments, and once there is a positive message, a positive appraisal of what we've done by the ECB and the Commission, we'll go ahead.
They tried to evade the problem, and that is, of course, the first reaction of all good politicians. Because the problem for them is the following. On the one hand, the treaty says you cannot bail out the country. On the other hand, the financial markets say you have to bail out Greece. And between these two, the leaders have said, we rather don't decide today, let's hope the problem goes away.
And will it?
It is very unlikely, because financial markets see that Greece is in a very difficult position, that sooner or later the government cannot pay its debt, and therefore the interest rates will stay high, and the problem will come back, probably in 2 weeks at first, and then even more, in even stronger form, in a couple of months when the Greek government has to repay higher amounts.
Meanwhile, someone who's kept a bit of a low profile at this summit has been Gordon Brown. Some newspapers are suggesting that Britain may have to help with any bailout. But notice how many times Mr. Brown says that this is a problem for the Eurozone.
I think the issue today is what the euro area wants to do. Greece is part of the euro area. It's part of the euro currency area. Its debt is denominated in euros. So the discussion at the moment is about what Greece and the euro area can do together to benefit Greece's position. I want the Greece position to improve. Obviously, the government will have to stick by its commitments. I think there is an understanding that they've got to take the action that they promised. But this is something that is being discussed within the euro area among the members of the euro area.
Across Brussels is the Belgian Central Bank. Many of its old tasks have now been shifted to Frankfurt. Much of this grand old building is now given over to a museum of old money. Coinage starts with the Greeks. This was the closest Europe had to a single currency 500 BC. This currency isn't finished by any means, but it does have a Heraclean struggle ahead of it.
David Grossman. Well, earlier tonight I spoke with the French Finance Minister Christine Lagarde and suggested to her that all financial markets like clarity, whereas today's agreement